So here it is, the final episode of the 30k PR project. As you're seeing on screen, it is the Chloromancer. Yes, I'm doing this intro before the actual intro, but I'm just gonna say that thank you for sticking around throughout this whole series. It's been quite fun to stick around and use all other sorts of characters and, you know, give you my honest opinion in certain characters on how they perform in Uber 10. But this is the finale, this is the last character that I have to review, and yeah, we are done with this series. Let me know what kind of series would you like to see. I'm thinking of making like a new account and just talking you a progression guide, like going into a new account and how would I go into progressing into Trove, like getting more power and getting some mastery along the way. But yeah, so that's all I have to say. Thank you for sticking around throughout this whole series. Thank you for being patient of me just posting one of these every single week for the most part, and yeah, it's been fun, honestly speaking. And right now, roll the intro. So, as you're seeing on screen, it is the Chloromancer this time around. The Chloromancer is one of the toughest characters for me to review because this character is extremely inconsistent when it comes to Uber 10 grinding, well, in general, because sometimes this character can be extremely good and sometimes this character can be probably one of the worst characters in the entire game. I will explain all in details in this video. This video might be really long, maybe it might be like normal length. But for the most part, I've done this recording like twice, and both of them trying to explain everything just usually means that this video is going to be really long. It is the finale, so might as well just go with a bang. With that being said, let's get started. Hello and welcome to another JNMG video. I'm the host JonNario, and today it is another 30k PR video. This time it is the finale of the 30k PR project, and this time it is the Chloromancer. My Chloromancer is currently sitting at 30,030 power rank. And my stats are as follow. Yes, as you're seeing on screen, I lost my purple name, but yeah, whatever. And I had 312,512 magic damage, 100.7 critical hit, 1,687.7 critical damage, and 3,959 light. Magic damage is high, critical hit is good, critical damage is alright, and light is alright. I have a full set of crystal 3 attacks with critical damage all pieces of gear. I have maximum health, magic damage, and critical hit. Critical hit for 100%. Maximum health because I don't want magifying with this character. I barely use this character, so might as well just get as much survivability as possible. And magic damage because a little bit of extra damage doesn't hurt, but I will use this one or maximum health, but I'm not gonna reroll it because this time around it's like a stat reroll. Prefect Penguin, the reason I use Prefect Penguin is because this is the same as Raptor Berserker. If you're not using a cooldown based character, Prefect Penguin is usually the best option, and yeah, so might as well just use Prefect Penguin with this character. Magifying Stellar 4 Ring, Arcane because damage, and this character has certain abilities that need the damage buff. certain abilities have like insane damage and the burst damage is high up there, but if you want as much damage from your burst damage, then might as well just use Arcane, Unyielding because survivability, and Conjurer's Crucible Bile because it's my personal choice. Since I do have high magic find, I just use Conjurer's Crucible Bile just to regain my flat. Mounted Cavalry Knight subclass, I don't have movement speed gear, so might as well just get movement speed on mounts. And yeah, so moving on to my gems. My gems are as follow. I'm going rapid fire because for the most part in Uber 10 I'm going to explain a lot of things and I want to get this done and over with. So going to my Empower Gem, 3 magic damage on my Class Gem, 3 critical damage on my Air Empower Gem, and 2-1 magic on my Fire Empower Gem. My Lesser Gem, it is 2-1 magic on most of them, so 2-1 magic, 2-1 magic, 2-1 magic, 2-1 crit damage, 2-1 magic, and 2-1 magic. So 5 of them with 2 magic roll and 1 crit damage roll, and 1 of them with 2 crit damage roll, 1 magic damage roll. No particular reason, I just ended up with this particular roll, so might as well just use them. And also you might be thinking, why am I using maximum health right over here? I already have 100% critical hit, and I have my Empowered Cosmic Gem has critical hit, and I'm not gonna re-roll critical hit because the Empowered Gem that I got, it is a 2-star Empowered Gem, so I'm not gonna waste resources in getting like maximum health or magic damage or critical damage. I'm just gonna end up using the stat that I was given and just roll with it. So since I'm already 100%, I'm just using maximum health right over here. But do not worry, I also have a same stat like 2-1 magic with critical hit on my personal chest if I ended up getting a 3-star Empowered Cosmic Gem. So as of right now, this is what I'm gonna use. Speaking of Cosmic Gem, Lesser Cosmic Gem is 2 light, 1 magic on both of them. 3 light is the better option if you're going for an Uber 10 build. And this character doesn't necessarily need the light, but using light is very beneficial for Uber 10. And my Empowered Cosmic Gem, it is a 2-star like I mentioned, and it is 1 critical hit, 1 light. And my Empowered Cosmic Gem is Vampirian Vanquisher. With this character, I would recommend you to have Berserk Battler if you're using for Uber 10, because for the extra damage but also the extra attack speed, this character is based around attack speed, so might as well just get as much attack speed as possible. And always get Explosive Epilogue because this character's plans actually trigger Explosive Epilogue and it will help out on the burst damage potential. Also get the Class Gem, that's one thing I forgot to mention. Class Gem is very important. This character's Class Gem is ridiculously powerful, but even though it is on a chance, it is really strong. And any other Empower Gem will do. But those are my gems, this is my gear, and this is my Chloromancer. I will be going into Uber 10 in 3, 2, 1. And here I am, Uber 10. So, how does the Chloromancer fare in Uber 10? If you may be thinking, why do I sound tired? It's because I woke up like an hour ago, just to let you know. How does this character fare in Uber 10? This character is, like I previously mentioned, this character is one of the toughest characters for me to review because I have been using this character for the past 4 to 5 days. Like at least a couple hours a day. Still cannot think of a proper way to use it or just a most effective way of using it because this character is extremely inconsistent. Like, this might be one of the most inconsistent, if not the most inconsistent character in the entire game. The reason being is most of its abilities are stationary. So what I mean is stationary is that you just throw them down and they just stick there until they expire. Most of the characters have a range option, or you yourself, you're using your basic attack to deal your damage, or you just use a regular ability to dish out damage. That's pretty much true with pretty much all characters. But this character in particular, the basic attack sucks. So that's why I just don't even bother with the basic attack to deal damage. So I don't trust this character's basic attack unlike most other characters. The other characters I trust the basic attack because they either have really high attacks per second, or they do pretty decent damage, or they are really good in terms of crowd control and effectiveness. This character is probably one of the worst basic attack like ever. It is a single target attack, it has average attacks per second, and it has a 1x damage multiplier. 1x damage multiplier on a basic attack that attacks on an average pace is pretty bad for the most part. Just take for example, just having max attack speed is like using half a Shadow Hunter, if you look at it that way. So you attack like half the speed of the Shadow Hunter while dealing the same amount of damage and having the same crowd control without the explosion. So just looking at it that way is just terrible. Like seriously it is. Then you have your abilities. Like I previously mentioned, all of the abilities are stationary, meaning that you just throw them down and they do not do anything. I'm gonna exclude the Class Gem for now, because I will explain the class gem after I'm done with the normal abilities. But just look at it this way. All of the abilities are stationary, so you just stand there and just pray that the enemy doesn't run away. This is why a lot of people will say that the Chloromancer against ranged enemies is literally the worst character that you will ever play, because if a ranged enemy just starts running away, you just have to reset all of your plans all over again. Let's talk about the multipliers and how the properties of each and every single ability work. Leafy Lasher, which is this ability right over here. Leafy Lasher has a 2.15 times damage multiplier, I believe it is, and it attacks twice a second. Like I said, is stationary and it stays there for, I believe it is 6 seconds, 6 to 7 seconds. I don't remember how much is it. Future me it will tell you. But the only bad part is that this ability, if you're not shooting it, it takes 2 to 3 seconds to activate, and it has the same problem as something like the Boomeranger, which the Boomeranger's big bomb takes 3 seconds to detonate, so it has the same problem, so you have to shoot it down with your basic attack. There's also a big problem considering this, is that unlike the Boomeranger's big bomb or Bog Bomb class gem ability, you have the chickens, but this is, you're just stuck around with this ability. So ranged enemies is like this character's bane and insistence, so like that was a prime example. I just threw down the Leafy Lasher on top of the mob, and it took me a couple of seconds and the mob just ran away. So you just have to throw them right below them, shoot the Leafy Lasher with your basic attack so it can proc and it starts doing damage. Once it starts doing damage, it slows enemies down, if you didn't know. That is like problem number 1. Problem number 2, just right over there, enemies that are ranged are literally this character's bane, and it's literally the worst things that you will ever do. However, god damn it. However, is like this character's like ranged enemies are like the worst part of this character, like dealing with. And the thing is there's so many enemies, especially in Uber 10. There's so many bosses that are ranged enemies. Like pretty much most of the bosses are ranged enemies in Uber 10. For dungeon bosses, oh yeah, it has the same problem as the Ice Age when you have Unyielding, that you just get sent flying through across the map. I don't know why is this a thing, but it's a thing. This character is kind of terrible when it comes to dealing with ranged enemies. Dealing with close range enemies, it is a whole new story, because this character against close range enemies is strong. That's why when it comes to Cursed Skulls, this character is really strong, like really powerful. That's why when it comes to something like Shadow Towers, this character is really good. But we're talking about Uber 10 right over here. And ranged enemies, since it's pretty much for the most part, the most that you will see in Uber 10, is really bad. So Leafy Lasher, being the main damaging ability that you will do like as fast as possible, it has that as a problem, like dealing with ranged enemy. Then let's talk about Blooming Pollinator, or the Bomb Explosion Plant. That Bomb Explosion Plant deals 5.5 times damage, which is the same as the Dracolite's Bomb Explosion. But unlike the Dracolite you need 2 hits to detonate them. The Chloromancer needs 7 hits with your basic attack to detonate him as fast as possible. Otherwise you have to wait, like I believe it's like 15-20 seconds. Is kind of ridiculous, but you have to hit it 7 times with your basic attack. So this character at max attack speed is shooting roughly 5 to 6 times a second. The problem is that not even 1 second like it takes to this plant to detonate. It takes more than 1 second to take a Blooming Pollinator to detonate. Unlike the Dracolite, the Dracolite attacks 4 times a second, and the bomb detonation you have to hit it twice. So for the most part, you are detonating each and every single bomb on a 0.5 second timer. So you will detonate 2 bombs for the most part each and every single second. Unlike this character, you will detonate 1 of them. So this character's Blooming Pollinator, it has half the DPS when it comes to the bombs compared to the Dracolite. Not only that, is that the Dracolite's basic attack hits multiple enemies. If you're just dealing with an enemy and you're just trying to detonate a bomb, you're going to have a trouble with this character because it is a single target attack. Single target attack have a much more trouble like dealing with multiple enemies because you're just hitting 1 enemy at the same time. Problem is that, again, this character is all about doing burst damage, and the Blooming Pollinator is the biggest burst damage that this character would dish out. So you have a ability that attacks 2 times a second in Leafy Lasher, does 2.1 times in terms of multiplier, which is kind of low. So that's around 4 times each and every single second, which is around the same as the Lunar Lancer's Crescent combo, and it slows enemies down. Here comes another problem with the Leafy Lasher. If you throw multiple of them, only one of them is going to dish out damage. So if you throw 3 of them, only one of them is going to dish out damage, and the other 2 are going to serve as extra range. So if I throw 3 of them right now, you just see that the enemy is still taking 2 damage per second because only one of them is dealing damage. And that is a big problem. I wish that they will make it so that each and every single plant dish out more damage, because you can throw up to 4 of them, and that will be incredibly good with this character. Like dishing out like 4 times a second with 4 different plants, that will be incredibly good for in terms of like burst damage, seeing that it is a stationary ability. Like making the abilities stronger, that would be like ideal. But unfortunately, only one of them does damage. So you have to throw Blooming Pollinator like crazy. One or 2 Leafy Lashers is more than enough. I throw multiple of them so I can trigger like the class gem, because it has like the shorter cooldown out of the 2. And I can throw like multiple of them so I can proc the class gem. And let's talk about the ultimate ability, which is one of the most lackluster ultimate abilities in the entire game, because you literally just throw multiple plants randomly across the map. You don't throw like plants like in front of you or where you're aiming. That's a big problem. Like when it comes to Curse Skull, you can actually just use the ultimate ability inside Curse Skull, and you will like all of the plants will stay near the Curse Skull, like inside the Curse Skull, before you activate it. So that's a big plus, because it counts like as like an enemy and it gets caught in the Curse Skull. So the ultimate ability is good against Curse Skull, and then again, Curse Skull is good with this character. Like this is like this character's strong suit, and when it comes to not doing the 5-star, screw you 5-star. And that's a big problem. You can also just stay like next to a boss, and it will get caught inside the boss. Like you will do the exact same thing, but it is a little bit tougher to do when it comes to ranged bosses again. And ranged bosses are this character's bane and assistant, and that's why it makes it so inconsistent. But when it comes to like close range mobs, ultimate ability is really good. But however, it's still one of the most lackluster abilities, because it doesn't proc the class gem. Speaking of class gem, the class gem, it is this character's biggest like damage potential. Like it is incredible. Like the class gem is incredible. You probably saw a couple of times, like there's one of them right over here. Like you're going to see like the class gem just demolish mobs. Like it demolishes mobs, and that was without arcane, and you can tell that it does insane damage. What kind of damage does it do? Like it does, I believe it does 1 times damage multiplier, and it attacks 12 times a second. So it attacks 12 times. It takes like a 0.5 second to 1 second like pause, and then it shoots again. It does that 3 times, so it does like 36 lines of damage, and that is incredibly good. Like considering that it only lasts for like 3 seconds for the most part, and 3 to 4 seconds. So it is incredibly powerful. So you're going to see how much damage it dishes out. Like you just saw right there, it only hit like a couple of lines of damage, and that normal mob got deleted for the most part, and that is this character's biggest strength. There's also a big negative when it comes to that, because it is only on an 8% chance of proccing. Yes, it's 8% chance of proccing. 8% chance is pathetically low. So that is a world boss. So let's see if I can proc the class, and there it is. Alright, so Jesus, attacks like 1 lines of damage, and it pretty much destroyed the boss with half of the lines of damage doing with arcane and the half doing without arcane. Like this class gen is unreal. I don't know if it is if it attacks like 12 times a second. I believe it attacks like 16 times a second. Like I don't even know how much attacks per second it does. Like I have to like test everything out if I can find something that tells me how much attacks per second it does, but it attacks over 12 times a second from the looks of it. Is unreal. Like this class gem is unreal on how powerful, how ridiculous it is. Okay, so there's the world boss. So you can see dead. It's ridiculous, like it is honestly ridiculous. It's one of the strongest abilities in the entire game. The only problem is that it is on an 8% chance. One thing that I would love this character to get if they ever make a rework to like the Chloromancer. This is like my types of fixes or improvement towards this character in particular. First and foremost, basic attack should be incredibly powerful. Like basic attack on a 1x damage multiplier is not good. Being a single target attack, they should make it similar to like the Ice Age basic attack, that it does like the Ice Age does 2.5, I believe it is, and this one should be doing like 2 times damage. So 2 times damage each and every single basic attack will be ideal with this character. Leafy lashers, like I previously mentioned, multiple of them should be dealing damage at the same time. If you throw like 4 of them, all 4 of them should be dealing damage, not one of them. If it only does that, then it doesn't need like damage increase because all 4 of them will deal more damage and more DPS. Secondly is that Leafy Lasher, you just throw it down and it should come out instantly instead of being like you just have to shoot it down so you can get so you can start dealing damage. So it should be like you just throw it down and you instantly are doing this type of attacks. Blooming Pollinator should be, instead of 7 attacks, should be 3, because it's kind of ridiculous just shooting the plant 7 times so it detonates, so it's kind of ridiculous. The ultimate ability should be this, instead of being this, like throwing plants everywhere, it should be the cactus. You just throw down one of them and that's pretty much should be the actual ultimate ability. The Classium though should be a chance of proccing the ultimate ability, like similar to what it is right now, but instead of an 8% chance of proccing, it should be at least a 25%. So if you have all of those proccing at the same time, this character could be one of the strongest Shadow Tower characters in the entire game. It will still struggle a little bit in dungeon grinding, but when it comes to Shadow Tower, this character could be one of the best, if not the best, solo Shadow Tower class in the entire game, because this character has survivability. The Blooming Pollinator heals you if you didn't know. So you will dish out like incredibly high burst damage, like incredibly high damage in general. And this character might even become like a speedrun contender character if they implement those kinds of changes. Will the character become overpowered? No, it will not become overpowered. The reason being is because most of these abilities are stationary, like I previously mentioned, and it will still have that as a problem. So when it comes to dungeon grinding, this character is kind of meh, because to throw everything down, it's not like an instant cast ability. Like let's say for example the Knight. The Knight, it is you just press one button, you just have an ability that does 8 times damage and it hits everything in front of you. This character, however, so if they make it so that the Leafy Lasher is instantly, it's going to dish out like 4 times damage instantly, so it's still going to be half the DPS of the Knight's instant damage ability. So the instant cast ability, the instant damage when it comes to this character is not going to be there, but the DPS is going to be there. So it was going to make this character a lot more powerful when it comes to DPS, but it's not going to fix the problems when it comes to dungeon grinding. However, this character has incredibly high potential because, again, it doesn't need increase in multipliers aside from the basic attack. Alright, so sorry about the big cut that you just saw right there. It's because there was something going on around here, so I decided to just cut a little bit. Oh yeah, by the way, if you're just tuning in, like the global chats, Blue Body got 2 Alberns and a Fortress, by the way. That's why everyone's freaking out in the global chat. But as I was saying, these characters, if they include the buffs, this character will still have the problems against close range enemy. It's not going to have instant cast ability because most of his abilities are like, it's going to be similar to like the Dracula in any way. So the instant cast ability, if they make it so that Leafy Lasher instant cast, it will attack 2 times a second and it will deal the same amount of damage, because it doesn't need damage increase if you can throw 4 of them, and you can throw 4 of them and all 4 of them are doing damage, so it doesn't need damage increase. However, it still dishes out like an instant cast ability, like instant damage. You have that and their basic attack, so you can at least kill regular mobs rather quickly. But when it comes to bosses, then you need like your burst damage, like incredibly high burst damage. Like if you compare that to the Knight is you just press a button, everything dies in front of you. And so yeah, so it will improve this character's gameplay in Shadow Towers, but when it comes to normal grinding, it will improve a little bit, but not a whole lot. So that's why I will say that those changes should be like, not only it will make it balanced, it will also make it more fun with this character in particular. I will say this one more thing. This character has incredibly high potential. This character is decent when it comes to Shadow Tower, but it still needs buffs and rework. And how should you use this character in Uber 10? First and foremost, don't even try using this character in Uber 10. Sorry to say, if you enjoyed the Chloromancer, no, you're better off just using other types of characters. You have a pretty terrible basic attack with this character. All of his abilities take a while to detonate. Survivability is not the best one out of all characters in the entire game. Crowd control is good, but there's characters with better crowd control. Like this character is subpar in every single way. And I will say this character is decent, but all of the other characters are really, really good compared to this character. If you really like the Chloromancer, use this character on Shadow Towers. Don't use it in Uber 10 grinding because you're going to struggle a lot. But if you just want to use this character for Uber 10, oh, someone's throwing beacons. I might have to cut this one out and just explain to you everything else. Doing a cut right now and doing this beacon. Yes. Yeah, beacon! Yoo-hoo! So I will be doing this last section in my club world because we're nearing towards the end, and I will just explain how to use this character in Uber 10. First and foremost, I actually made this line, which is determine how much range each and every single ability does. So each blue block is 10 blocks, each white is 5. So yeah, it's a total of 85 distance in blocks. So that's how it tests everything out. So yeah. Anyways, so and also that's my green screen room, my blue screen if a character has a lot of green. So like this character, I'll probably just use this room. And my orange screen if the character has blue and green, like I believe it was the Fate Trickster. So anyways, that is like, and also that is my other green screen. That is what I use to make thumbnails. Anyways, so club tour aside, how you use this character in Uber 10? If you really want to use this character in Uber 10, go with light, because light it will help out on the weaker part of this character, mean the basic attack damage and the leafy lasher damage. Spam every single ability that you can, similar to like the Tomb Racer. Just spam everything, because each and every single plant that you throw down, even if you throw multiple leafy lashers, you will still have a chance of proccing your class gem. Once you proc the class gem, that's when everything will die instantly. However, the class gem is on an 8% chance, so 8% chance is pretty bad. So this class gem is probably your saving grace. You just are praying to RNGesus just to proc one of them. If you just proc one of them, then you're in luck and you pretty much will kill everything in front of you. And yeah, that's pretty much how you use this character. Spam every single ability and hope for the class gem to proc. Once the class gem procs, that's when everything will die. So that's how you use this character in Uber 10. Go with Explosive Epilogue and try to get yourself Berserk Battler. This character is all about basic attack, so try to get yourself as much basic attack as possible with Berserk Battler. Is always a good thing, because you're going to shoot the blooming Pollinator 7 times for it to detonate. So Berserk Battler is a no-brainer, because you are going to need as much attack speed as possible so you can detonate those blooming Pollinator as fast as possible. This character has incredibly high burst damage because, again, blooming Pollinator. If you throw, let's say you throw 3 of them, everything will detonate, and that's 5.5 times damage each and every single one of them. And take into consideration that you're dealing 2 times damage each and every single second. Sorry about that, I knocked my water bottle. 2 times 2 attacks per second, which your leafy lasher is like, that's 4 times damage each and every single second, alongside the blooming Pollinator. And if you have the classing, that's GG. Use the ultimate ability on cooldown, because there isn't any reason not to use this ability on cooldown. I don't use it on cooldown because I'm not used to using this character a lot. The ultimate ability is not part of my muscle memory, so I don't just proc ultimate ability on cooldown. I do use them on Curse Call, so that's also a good thing. But still, that is all I have to say. This is the end of the series of the 30k PR project. This has been one of the most fun series I have ever done. It's been one of the most ambitious milestones I've ever done as well. This is the best series out of my channel in terms of popularity and work that I have put. This is literally the most work I have put on a series, and also the best series out of my channel. I have to say, that is all for today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for sticking around as always. Thank you for just sticking around throughout this whole series. Thank you for watching this whole series. It means a lot to me. I've seen a lot of people loving this series, and it's been fun. It's been really fun. But let me know if you have a Chloromancer. Let me know which power rank are you and what do you think of the Chloromancer. Leave a like if you want to help the channel grow. Subscribe if you want to see more content like this. And that is this series. That is the 30k PR project. Once again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Take care and keep on hunting. And if you're just looking for which character would you like to power up, you have a 30k PR on each and every single character in the entire game, and you just see how they perform in over 10. That is all for me. Farewell.